Hello guys and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. If you've been watching me for a while, you know it's not my first ever video. I do post shorts, but as long form, it's my first one. Since this is my first long video, so I wanted to start with something basic, so we're going with my daily basic makeup routine. So let's get started. So if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I'm obsessed with makeup. And my favorite part about makeup is like a lot of blush and sparkles. And also, I love wearing colors which people won't usually like to use in their daily life. For example, out of nowhere, I would just take a little bit of sky blue and just put it in my inner corners, and people are like, blue. So that's me. So the first step is moisturizer. I like to take the moisturizer in my hands and just warm it up. Now, this is the slowest part of my makeup routine because instead of absorbing all the white cast into my face, I mean my skin, I would just let it sit on its own, if you know what I'm trying to say. I would just let it absorb into my skin, and you see all that white cast right now. So I wouldn't like forcefully rub it into my skin, and that really improves my foundation application. Now, once the moisturizer has absorbed in my skin, I would go with color correctors and hide all the dark circles, the pimples, or anything which is not needed using any one of these. Yes, I do not use primers because I don't like them. Among all the color correctors or concealers I've used so far, this one is the best. I would just I would just use it everywhere, whatever areas I wanna cover, and just blend it using either a brush or a beauty blender. I'm just blending that into my skin using this brush. And you see how natural that looks. You see how this product covers all the imperfections on my face. I wish it could cover the flaws in my life. The foundation, I like to use the Maybelline Super Stay, but I would mix it with the SPF 50. So this might be an ick for some people, but I love how it turns out. For that, I would just take a little bit of sunscreen on my hand, and yeah, this one's tinted, but after when I apply this on my face, it oxidizes, so I don't like applying it directly. And I'm using like 1.5 pump of my foundation and just mixing it together. Then I would just put this product on my face using my fingers. Before blending that, I'll just take the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray and just spray it on my face, and then take a beauty blender and just blend it. If I wear the foundation alone, it's kind of full coverage, but when I wear it with the sunscreen, it gives me a very natural finish, but it's really pretty at the same time. Whatever. After that, to contour my face, I'm using the She Glam Liquid Contour, and I like to put it on this part of my nose, here, underneath my lips, here, and blend it. I'm using this slightly angled brush brush, tapping it into my skin, and you see how beautifully this blends. Using this liquid blush from She Glam in the shade Rose Ritual, and just applying it maybe here. And I love to put blush on my chin. I know there are many people on TikTok who hate this, but I think my makeup look is incomplete if I don't have blush on my chin. The same brush I used to blend my contour. For the concealer, I'm using these two shades from Maybelline. I'm using this one, a dot in the inner corner, same here. And just for that pink effect, I'm just using the pink concealer right next to it and just blending it using a brush. While my concealer is drying, I would use any Vaseline on my lips to make them soft. I love collecting different Vaseline flavors, and out of all of them, this one is my favorite. This one is a mixture of like vanilla and coconut, and it smells like heaven. Now, after blending the concealer, I would just take a loose powder and just set my under eyes with this. I would also put some powder on the top of my lids because it does have some cream product. Moving towards the eyes, I'm using this palette today. When it comes to my eyes, I don't really have a daily eye look. It totally depends on what mood I'm in. So, but the most basic one I go for is I would just take this shade and just apply it on my eyelids. You see the sparkle? I know it's crazy, but while I'm putting the glitter on my eyelids, I would just bring them down, and I really love how sparkly my eyes are. But also sometimes I just take a dark shade and I would just create a small wing using this angled brush. And yeah, that's all for my eyes. That's the most basic eye look I can do. Now, moving towards the eyelashes, as you can see, I have very thin eyelashes, so I would use three different mascaras so that someone can actually see them. So, first, I would go for this, and then this, and yeah. I don't like filling in my eyebrows, so we're skipping that part, and I'm moving on to highlighter and just applying it on my and we're going on to my lips. I'm using the She Glam setting spray. Before I put it on, I always like to test it because you see that it's
Naughty.
yeah, and I would just spray it on my face. So for the lips, I'm not a picky person. You might see me wearing a red lip on a very normal day. Honest, I love wearing bold lips. So I'm using this brown lip liner. I didn't sharpen it. Let's ignore that part. I'm just lining my lips. This is my new favorite lip combo since the past 3 weeks. And I don't like overlining my lower lip, but for the upper lip, I would just fill in this gap. And after that, I would just use the same lip pencil and just fill it in very lightly. To that, I like putting on some lip gloss. For the lip gloss, I've got these three options, but for today, I'll be using this one from e.l.f. because it got sparkles. It's basically a plumping lip oil, but it got sparkles. That's all we need. And I'm unable to show it on camera, but this looks delicious. So this is my basic daily makeup routine. Hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. See you again in the next video. Bye bye.